Topaz Gigapixel is one of the biggest names when it comes to AI image upscalers, but it is a paid tool, so I wanted to discover, is it really worth it, and how does it compare to some of the free alternatives out there that I've mentioned in the past, such as DGB or UPSCALER. So in case you don't know what Topaz Gigapixel is, this is their homepage, or the Topaz Labs homepage, I should say. They've got a variety of different tools. They've got this video one, there's a photo AI, and the one that I'm going to focus on in this video is Gigapixel, which is for upscaling images. The way it works is it's a software that downloads to your device, and then you've got the option to either use your own device for the upscaling. That way you don't have to rely on someone else's server and have like a long wait time, how it is with some of the tools out there. And you can also use it in bulk, which is a great benefit. They have a lot of different models, as I'm going to show you in a minute here, and you still have the option to use cloud upscaling. If you don't have the greatest device, you can still upscale some images in bulk through the Topaz Labs service. Essentially, you have the option here for personal and pro, and these are one-off fees. There's no subscription to this. It's just a one-time purchase. Personal might sound like you cannot use it for commercial projects, but that's actually a little bit misleading. If we look at the pricing page right here for Gigapixel 8, essentially the way it works is that the personal version right here is for any businesses with under $1 million US annual revenue. So if you are making over $1 million a year, then you should be using the Pro version right here, which is $500 as a one-off fee. You can also get a trial right here. As you can see, full features, no limited time. To be honest, I don't really know how that works. You probably have a limited amount of images that you can upscale with the trial version. But yeah, the one that I'm going to show you is the Gigapixel 8 Personal. That's the one that I purchased right here. So this is what Topaz Gigapixel looks like once you've got it installed on your device. And the way it works is you either select a folder right here, or you just drag and drop a bunch of images into the tool. So I'm going to do this with 23 in my example, but you can drop more images at the same time. And then what happens is you get one of the images load up right here as an example, and it's going to show what it looks like once upscaled. And you've got the option to kind of flip between different views down here. One that is quite good is the split view, this option, where on the left-hand side, you're going to see the original, and on the right, you will see the upscaled version of the image. You can also use this slider to go across right here, see the before and after, and zoom in really far to kind of compare the before and after in a very detailed area right here. That result already looks pretty decent. And basically all of the effects or the settings that you choose right here on the right-hand side, they're going to be applied to all of the images in your list once you hit export. So let me quickly give you an overview of how these settings work, because there is quite a bunch of them and it can be a bit overwhelming. First of all, right here we've got the upscale factor. How many times is the image going to be upscaled? 2x, for example, brings my images up to 2000 pixels because they're starting off at 1000, but it's not really going to improve the quality very much. If you zoom in, you can barely actually tell a difference from the before and after. For print on demand purposes, I would often say just stick to 6x. That's going to bring it up to about 6000 pixels, which is more than good enough for almost every print on demand product out there, unless you're selling on something very large like a shower curtain, for example. You also have the option to go custom and all the way up to 21x. That is the maximum setting that works, but be very careful with that, because not only is it going to take very long to upscale a bunch of images to such a high size, it is also going to make your file size very, very huge. And you can see right here, it's going to turn these images into 21,000 by 21,000 pixel images. So yeah, be careful with that. By the way, you do have an estimate file size shown over here, which says 467 at the moment. I have found that to be very inaccurate. When I upscale these sorts of graphics right here by 6x, they usually turn out between 5 and 10 megabytes if I save them as a JPEG. So yeah, I'm not really sure what this file size is referring to. Maybe it's just guessing the cumulative file size of all of them combined, I don't know. Then you've got the pixel density down here. So this is usually 72 by default, I think, so you can change this to 300 ppi, and then we get into the models that Topaz has on offer. So you can either click on this lightning symbol, which appears in a few places, by the way, and that's going to use AI to choose the most suitable model for your image based on what the AI thinks, right? So in this case, it just chose standard. If you want to test them out though, and kind of see for yourself, you can either click through them right here. So we've got standard, high fidelity, low res, text and shapes, Art and CG. Now it's very tough to see a difference just clicking through these, but there's a really cool feature that they've implemented called Compare. So if we click on Compare, you can actually choose 4 of the models right here, and then you can click Compare, and it's going to open up a split view between the 4 different models and show the results in comparison. It takes a while to actually render each model, but from this view right here, I think Art in CG doesn't look that great because it has a lot of sort of black around the edge right here. And the top right here, low resolution, we don't have that. It looks very smooth, this line, and doesn't have some weird colors added. Higher fidelity also looks kind of weird, like grainy and a bit like ghosting going on right here at the edge. So in this case, I'm kind of between standard and low resolution whilst we zoomed into that very point right there. And maybe if we zoom in somewhere else, we have a different result. Let's see what this looks like right here. Always takes a little while to be loaded. But again, I think there's a bit of like strange red color right here around this yellow line, which isn't there in these top results. I'm leaning to low resolution V2 right here for this specific graphic, but definitely test this for your own graphics, for your own photos, whatever you're trying to upscale, because in your case, low resolution might not give you the best result. But this is definitely a cool feature to compare. And then you've also got some additional settings over here to increase the sharpening, the denoise, and fix compression. Now, with that, you're going to have to zoom in quite far to notice a difference. At least in my opinion, it's going to be hard to see much of difference right there, but it's good for fine tuning your upscale result. You again have the option to use AI to pick a setting for you. Face recovery is not going to be important here because there's no faces in this image, so we can't use any of these features. Then you have gamma correction as an additional setting down here, which you don't need to turn on. And then if this is your favorite model right here, lower resolution V2, you just select that and click apply model. So that's now going to be used for our upscale. Alternatively, you also have these new generative models right here, essentially using AI to reimagine your image at a higher resolution. This is something I've talked about in the past when mentioning DGB LOL and their new feature called AI Retouch. This is essentially the same idea, just built into Gigapixel 8. They've got 2 models for this called Recover and Redefine, and they do tend to get better results than the base models. The only downside is they do take a lot longer to do the upscaling, especially the Redefine beta model right here, which adds realistic details and is more suitable for photography or stock images and maybe poster designs. For these kind of flat illustrations or more t-shirt designy style, you're going to do better with the Recover setting. But I'm going to compare some of these models later on in the Photoshop section in this part, where I just show different results and compare them with DGB, upscale, etc. If we wanted to see what the Recover model looks like right here, we can click on Recover and then pre-render just one section of the images. That way you don't have to wait like 3 minutes for the entire thing to be upscaled, and you can already get a glimpse into what the result may look like once you actually export all of these images. It takes a while to actually do this pre-render right here. You have to be a bit patient. You can click preview entire image, but I would be careful. That can take quite a while. So if we zoom in right now, you can see that this is a very crisp result. Does it look better than the low res model? It probably does. It's hard to compare this right here straight within Gigapixel, but I have exported some different versions for some of these images to compare later. So that's how that works with the Recover model. The Redefine one has sort of a bigger square, but I'm not going to show you this one right now because it takes a long time to actually pre-render. You also have a detail slider right here, creativity slider for the Redefine one, because you are reimagining the image. So the more creativity you enable right here, the more it's going to kind of change the image to improve it to a higher quality. So that's what you need to know about these 2 models. If you do have an image with a face, you can also use the face recovery setting in combination and have it kind of restore faces more accurately. That doesn't apply in this case with this graphic. But once you're happy, once you've found the model that we want to use, I'm not going to use Recover right now in this example because it takes longer, but let's say you wanted to use low res, then you click on Export Images next. It is now going to give you a few options over here in terms of the prefix and the suffix. It's going to use your original file names of these images, and then this is what it's going to look like in the output. So the original file name is in the middle. It's just a bunch of letters and numbers right here for me. I've added the prefix Topaz at the beginning with a dash, and then at the end it automatically appends the model and the filters that we've used. So low resolution V2 is the AI upscale model, and then 6x is how many times we're upscaling it. If you don't want this to be added to the end, you can just disable it with this button over here. as you can see. This is just for organizing your files better, essentially. Then we can kind of change right here where this is being saved into, either the original folder or a new one that you set up. And the format right here, you can change to PNG or TIFF as well if you want to, or just preserve the original. I've got JPEG selected. The quality slider, you've got this as well. The higher the quality, obviously the better it looks, but probably also the bigger the file size is going to be. Preserve colors, I would just leave at the default, and then you can hit save, and then it's going to run through each one of these files. As you can see, it did still say 400 MB right there for the estimate, but it actually turned out to be 14 MB. At least that's what the estimate says right here. Let's look in the folder quickly. Yeah, so these are turning out around 13 MB right here for these images, scaling them all the way up to 6,000 by 6,000 pixels. Right, so let's get into the nitty gritty right here and compare some of the Topaz models, not just against themselves, but also against some other AI upscalers that I've mentioned a lot in the past. We're starting off right here with the original image. You might remember this from a previous comparison video. And if we zoom in right here, we've got a sort of halftone texture effect going on this koala. And yeah, it's quite a nice style for POD. Now, if we zoom in a little bit right here into this section, I'm first of all going to show you the low resolution V2 model with a 6x upscale. So that's one of the ones that show the best result for these kind of cartoonish 2D flat vector graphics. This is the original. This is the low res V2 6x upscale. As you can see, it does look a lot crisper, smoother around the edge. This is the original. This is low res. Some of the details I think look kind of strange. Like this has this kind of weird net effect, like fish netting effect going on. It looks more distorted than accurate. It doesn't really look like a halftone effect. If we compare this now, the low res model, to the recover model, so that is the AI, like the regenerating one, that takes a lot longer, but this is recover 6x upscale in comparison right here. So as you can see, it still looks high resolution. You can see it's a lot crisper than the original, but it's done a way better job of actually upscaling this halftone effect. If you look at it, there is some weird ghosting going on right here with it, with the strange color around the edge, which wasn't there in the other model, I think. Well, it was slightly there. But overall, if you zoom out a bit right here, this is low res, and this is the recover, the AI powered model. I think that does look better, even though, you know, you are going to have to wait longer. It does give you better result. If we look at the next model that I've got right here, so this is Redefine 6X. That is the one that takes the longest and adds more detail to your graphics. So let's go back up at the face right here. Currently, we're looking at Recover, generative model, AI model. This is Redefine. Recover, Redefine. Quite a lot more similar than the previous model, but if we zoom in right here on the Redefine, it does definitely try and add detail. And in this case, it's a lot of unnecessary detail that we don't really need for these kind of vector graphics at POD. That was to be expected, but I still wanted to show you the result. Like we've got some weird ghosting around here. We've got these kind of textures like dots around the face, almost making it look more realistic, which we don't really need. You can see it as well on the stars right here. There's this weird texture effect going on, which on the Recover one looks a lot smoother. And this is low resolution, where it does look even smoother, which is almost a pro, but some of the details kind of get ruined, like this texture effect right here. On Recover, it all looked the best in my opinion. So let's compare Recover to some of our previous upscalers. Upscale, you can download, you can install it on Windows, and then you can also run that in bulk. And this is one of the best models with a 6x upscale. If you zoom in, this is what upscale looks like. A lot more similar to the low resolution Topaz one. If we look at that, it kind of has this kind of weird netting effect. This is upscale we're looking at right now. Let's compare it to Recover, which is the best Topaz result. This is Recover from Topaz. This is upscale. Let's look at different bits, maybe these stars right here. Upscale actually looks quite good with these stars, and this is Recover. Recover does definitely still add a bit of detail, but some of this stuff has been restored a lot better in my opinion. Let's zoom out a little bit. This is currently Recover from Topaz, and this is upscale. So in some cases, it's personal preference. In my opinion, Recover did do a better job right here overall. Another thing that's interesting is DGB has their own sort of AI regenerating upscaler called AI Retouch. I've shown that in a separate video. You have to run AI Retouch and then put it in the 2x upscaler. The only downside there is it takes quite a long time because it's based on their service, right? It's an online upscaler. You don't download anything. You're upscaling the graphics on someone else's device. That's why there's quite a long wait time, because it is free. But they have really good results. From my previous tests, it's definitely one of the best upscalers out there, and it's amazing that we can use it for free. So right now we're still looking at Topaz Recover, which is kind of like the same idea as the DGB retouch. Let's hide this and look at DGB. So this is DGB right here, using AI retouch and then a 2x upscale to get it to a total of 6x. Recover, DGB. I think whilst DGB looks better than some of the traditional upscalers, it doesn't have this fishnetting effect. Overall, Recover did do better with this halftone, in my opinion at least. You can leave your opinion down below if you want. This is Recover, this is DGB. Now, the smoothing looks better on DGB, for sure. Recover does add some unnecessary details. Yeah, on the edge right here has some strange ghosting. So this is DGB. So actually this is more of a draw, I would say. DGB has done a really good job with many aspects of this image in comparison to Recover. But again, some of the crucial details of like texture effects and stuff like that do seem to look better with the Topaz upscaler. So it's a bit of a draw right here, which is very impressive from DGB considering it is free. The only downside, again, you have to wait. With Topaz, you can do it. If you have a fast PC, you can do it really quickly, all in bulk. With DGB, you have to wait for a queue to finish upscaling. So yeah, that was an interesting comparison, I would say, of this koala image. Because the models kind of work different when it comes to photography, I also wanted to show you another quick comparison for that. So here we go. This is an image that some of you might recognize as well if you've watched my previous video comparing this, where I actually used the Midjourney upscaler as well and compared it to DGB and some other tools. In this case, we're going to mainly focus on Topaz right here and what sort of a job it does with more photography style image. If we zoom in right into the eye, I think that's a good place to compare. This is the original currently, so it's about 1000 pixels, very low res. And now we're looking at the Topaz low resolution model with the face restore enabled. And I think this already looks mind-blowingly good. In my previous test, where I compared the Midjourney upscaler and some other tools, Midjourney did do the best. So let's compare this to Midjourney as well. So currently looking at Topaz, low resolution with face restore. This is Midjourney. Topaz, Midjourney. And I think Topaz already wins this. It looks more realistic. It doesn't look as sharp as the Midjourney upscaler. Right here you can see there's a lot more sharpness and maybe a little bit more detail, but this one actually looks so much more realistic, in my opinion at least. If we zoom out, let's look at this as well. It's not 100% exactly the same image. It kind of imagines it, which is the idea. Compared to Midjourney, when it's zoomed out, it's tough to say which one is better. This is Topaz, this is Midjourney. They both look really, really good, don't get me wrong. If you zoom into the mouth, maybe right here in the nose, currently looking at Midjourney, and this is Topaz. Yeah, but both look good in their own right. But in my opinion, Topaz just looks a tiny bit more realistic, more like a photograph. The hair is always difficult as well. Right here, so this is Topaz, and this is Midjourney. I think Topaz did this better. But yeah, just my personal opinion. Of course, if you're using Midjourney and you have that built-in upscaler, you don't need to go separately to Topaz, right? If you want to use the Midjourney upscaler, it still gets really, really good results, no doubt about it. But yeah, let's zoom back into the eye and compare some of the other models. Let's compare Topaz low resolution with Topaz redefine, because redefine should technically do an even better job because it's using AI to recreate the image. So let's hide low resolution. Now we're looking at redefine right here. This has added a lot more detail, and that is the job of that model. I think, yeah, redefine is the one that says adding more details. So this actually now looks closer to the Midjourney upscale, I think. Yeah, where it's gone a lot more in depth with like adding stuff on the pores and really fleshing out the freckles. The eye, I think, looked better on the low resolution, to be honest. Yeah, because it has more of that photo feel. By the way, face restore was also enabled for that setting. Let's compare that with recover, which again is one of the Topaz AI models reimagining the image. But in this case, it doesn't add as much detail with that model. That's the one that was slightly quicker. So currently we're looking at low resolution. Now we're looking at redefine, which is the extreme detail one, which you can definitely see in the eyebrows right here. It's added a lot of detail. And now we're looking at recover, which is kind of in between, right? So it's not as detailed, but it's still reimagining it with AI. Let's zoom out, look at it from afar. Just to remember, this is the original, then this is the recover, this is the Midjourney upscale. Zoom back in here. Currently looking at Midjourney, this is recover. Midjourney, recover. I mean, they both look really, really good. It's tough to say which one is better. Let's also compare recover to the low resolution. Yeah, low resolution does look a little bit blurry in some spaces. This is recover. Yeah, I think recover is almost my favorite result. The only thing that looks kind of strange is this over here. What's that? We've got like very detailed hair and then it suddenly goes blurry. I'm not sure if that's the original image. Let's see if it's the same in the others. Here it's not as noticeable. On the redefined model, this part looks a lot better. What about Midjourney? Yeah, Midjourney also did this a lot better. So that's one thing where the recover model of Topaz kind of messed up, is this part in the hair. Not sure why that happened, but some of the face details look really good in recover. I mean, this looks kind of weird. I didn't see that before. Like it's added a pimple right here. See how that looked original? Okay, it was kind of there. What did the Midjourney upscale do here? All right, it kind of sort of almost got rid of that. So yeah, Midjourney won this section, I would say. But anyway, how does Topaz recover compared to DGB AI retouch? That's, I think, an interesting question because those are fairly similar as well, and DGB is obviously free. So DGB AI retouch is what we're going to look at right now. It got rid of the pimple, that's a good start. Let's look at the eye. The pupil does look a little bit messy. I think I went over that in the last video, but let's look at Topaz again. Yeah, the eye looks tidy, I would say. DGB, let's look at the eyebrow as well. Yeah, I do think Topaz did do a better job right here. It does look more realistic, whereas DGB, definitely an amazing job for a free tool, but it's not as crisp, not as realistic, and some of the details kind of get lost, like the eyelashes right here do look a lot better on recover, in my opinion. Although on this side, it does look a bit weird. This is DGB, this is recover. Okay, these eyelashes or this part of the eye looks a bit strange with Topaz there. What about the hair? This is the Topaz recover hair. This is DGB hair. Okay, the hair from DGB looks a lot worse, not as realistic in my opinion. Let's zoom out as well, get an overview of the entire image. So currently looking at DGB, and this is Topaz recover. Yeah, I think also looking at the skin in general, DGB doesn't do as good of a job right here on the forehead. Some of the skin details, Topaz makes it look slightly better and more realistic. So yeah, it's totally up to you. I know this is mainly subjective. In my opinion, Topaz is slightly ahead in some ways. The low resolution model for this photo actually did surprisingly well, in my opinion, with the face restore enabled. Midjourney still definitely holding up well. The Midjourney upscaler is very, very good. In some areas, Topaz did better, and in some areas it did worse. So it always depends on your image and on your specific result, but it's definitely a really good tool. It's worth the money if you have a fast PC, in my opinion, and you want to very quickly upscale images with some very, very good advanced models and a lot of different settings and features and easy ways to compare. If you don't have any budget for upscaling, then something like DGB or upscale is still amazing. Or if you're using Midjourney, using the built-in upscaler is still going to give you really good result. It just depends. Do you want to be really fast? Do it all in bulk? Do you have a fast PC? Do you have a slow PC? But yeah, I hope these comparisons and my tutorial helped you make a decision. I'm definitely going to start using Topaz a bit more because it's just easier for me with a fast PC to quickly drop in some files, upscale them and have them done in a few minutes. And I do like the fact that they have these redefine and recover, so the regenerative AI upscalers built in right here as well. I already love that feature on DGB, and here with Topaz, you can use those a lot quicker with the right hardware. If you want to learn one of the most advanced methods right now to generate prompts and AI graphics in bulk, then make sure to check out this tutorial next.